last one to die.
Let's watch this guy. Of all the guys, I think this guy gave Craig the most trouble. He's super flexible, roughly the same size, good at jiu-jitsu, and his style just kind of, Craig Jones wasn't quite able to stunt on him the way everybody else was. They both were good at octopus guard. They both were kind of trading back and forth with it. All right, so this is what I want to talk about right here, because we've been talking about like Buggy and Von Flew, basically head and arm stuff. And I mentioned the Farside Underhook. Craig Jones has felt a Buggy kind of pressure and attempt from this guy already, and he kind of senses, I think, that he knows he's adept to it. So look where he's putting his kind of side control pressure, right? First of all, he's not fully committed down onto him. He's kind of half level, like he's on his elbows away. And then that elbow, it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but the far side elbow is down towards the guy's hips. And that kind of nullifies the entry to the Buggy. And he's doing that definitely on purpose. But I want to show you, on top of that, it helps control the other guy's hips to do that. And then on top of that, doing so leads to real effective, real far side underhooks, which is, you'll see how. I'll show you what I mean. See how upright he is? And that elbow is close to that other hip. Now he's compressing the legs with it. Look at, he even set a structure in place when he felt the Buggy come on. He's created an actual structure. First of all, it started off, he was already off guard or offset from him, and then the elbow was already close to the hip, and now he's even set a structure in place for that. You just can't beat, you can't compress. Because remember, what's going to create the Buggy is being able to drive that shoulder up into, first of all, it's the bite you have on the other side of the neck. But once you have that bite, it's going to be about driving that shoulder up into that side of the neck. So the structure he's creating is already countering that. The guy feels it. He knows there's nothing there. Look how he controls hips. There. That's what happens. He goes to controlling the hips. So what the guy does then is he starts to retreat away. And then as he retreats away, he leaves that arm behind. And that's when you snap in a real underhook. You're not going arm over, like exposing your arm. You control the shoulder and your elbow comes back home. And you have that arm now. It's yours, because all of it's powerful because your elbows are close and you don't have exposure yourself. And he's going to use this real underhook to create a lot of problems for this guy. Yeah, turns it right into a mount. All right, so let's look at that. It's so much better to have our elbow monitoring that opposite hip and controlling it, knowing where it is, knowing what that leg's doing. And even more so if we can pull it back and corral the legs and compress the legs together, maybe even start pushing those legs down to the side so that the feet aren't on the ground. That's what we want to do with that far arm. Or we can reach around the hips and like grab the hips in their entirety and kind of control. See how he keeps this structure in place to make sure he doesn't slip too far up and be able to push behind the shoulder. And then he slides his knee to the inside. He knows that's going to help him too. And watch what happens. This is what I mean. The guy's going to be like, I've got nothing here. Let me try to get away. And I go from controlling the hips. The guy will retreat the arm and I grab a real underhook. So I have the arm, it's like a rotational like torque on the arm too that kind of creates this. See how he can't like make a solid connection on his back? It's because there's a rotational effect as well that kind of rotates the arm like this, and it's hard to make good solid connections with. So that arm is completely Craig's now. And look how he's able to control, like the underhook itself becomes the frame that keeps the legs away now. I know you're thinking like, oh, well, he can just, especially this guy, he's like crazy flexible. He can just shoot his legs back in because I'm creating all this space between our bodies. I'm not chest to chest anymore. It really doesn't matter. The torque and the frame you have of your elbow with an underhook like that, that's what keeps the hips and the legs away from re-guarding. Look how see how he drives his fist down into the mat? That's creating the pressure into the guy's head to keep his head pinned down. It's also making it difficult for him to bring his hips back in towards the body because you've got the head pinned where it is. He has to basically can opener himself in order to bring his hips back inside. Such a good pressure. It's so combatively sound too. Like, look, I'm still upright. Like, I do law enforcement stuff. This is like a money thing to see. He doubles up on the grip to maintain the torque. You see how he brings the other hand in and he doubles up? He wants the torque. And then he sets in the, so he's set in the far side knee. And because I have this real underhook, now because it's kind of lodged in between my shoulder, like my shoulder is behind the underhook, it's so easy for me to drive off that knee while I push up on the, like drive my shoulder up and create this huge gap to slide into for the mount. And that's like how every mount should be. You get a real underhook, and then you use that massive torque and pressure, driving your knee down and the hips away to create the opening to move to mount. We'll see it. Boom. And I'm already jacking the elbow with me. I'm already taking it with me. Boom. Money. Money. All right.